job search process, right? Like, I think everybody has questions about that. And I would love for you guys to be honest about the roller coaster and how hard it is, but also maybe like if you felt supported and like who did you lean on? Like, did you join our daily call? Did you lean on other folks? Kelly, do you want to kick us off? We'll go backwards.
For sure. So I was definitely a permanent person in the daily calls until I got kicked off. I was always there, even before I started job searching, because it's really interesting to hear about everyone else's journey. One of my biggest supporters was a person who was in my team for one of my projects, and she actually got a job really quickly, unfortunately for me. And then she would hear me like just cry. I literally cried during the job search. It's tough. It's really hard. And take it from me, I had 4 different jobs. Like, I've gone through all different kinds of like job searches. There's nothing quite like the tech job search. Like, you just have to accept the fact that you will send like applications into a void. I think I was around like 600, 700 applications. And I had like 45 interviews, but at the same time, when you just keep sending these applications, you feel like, oh my God, like what's happening? And it's totally normal. Everyone experiences this. There's a whole algorithm. Like Maka was like, oh yeah, this is totally normal. And I'm like, why is it normal? So it was definitely hard. But having the support of like mentors prep you for interviews, like I crushed all my portfolio reviews because I had the help of portfolio mentors, and then my portfolio was good, and I had the help of all the other students as well, like helping me be like, oh, these are questions I asked, or like, here's this, like this is what the things I did. So not only are the mentors and the structure of the of CJ and foundations really good, the people that you meet, everyone's trying to get a job, everyone's trying to build a network, and everyone's trying to help you. So that's irreplaceable. So I'll pop it over to Courtney.
Yeah, my job search was definitely the roller coaster. I felt like I was an insane person probably for that like entire 3.5 months. But now looking back, like my job is so good now. I'm like, oh, that was nothing. Like that was so worth it. But yeah, so it took about 3.5 months. I also sent out, I think, a little bit over 500 applications. I had around 30 interviews and 3 final rounds, I think. I would say Career Jumpstart. I don't understand how people could do a career transition like this without Career Jumpstart. The way it's laid out, they really gave every single thing we needed. And every time I had a problem, Maka would be like, well, did you do this? Or are you sending out this many applications, whatever? And I'd be like, no. And then once I changed and did what she said, suddenly I would be getting interview requests again. And the daily calls were great. And I really leaned on the people from my first project that I worked on. We just had like a really good chemistry. And like, same thing, Kelly, like I was calling them on FaceTime, like crying, like, oh my God, I got rejected from another job. But just having other people going through the same thing was irreplaceable. Like, I just can't imagine trying to go through that process without having that support and kind of that outlet. And a lot of those people were great connections because they would get jobs and then be like, hey, we're actually hiring for 3 or 4 other positions. So you kind of then have an in with all these companies because you're networking so much in Career Jumpstart with your like fellow students. Pass it to Blaine.
So I agree with you, Courtney and Kelly. It is a tough journey. I had to lean a lot on my support system, family, and the CJ and Avocado team in terms of what's going on in terms of my interview process. I joined the daily calls before my job application process to see what tips and tricks can I learn from other individuals that are in the interviewing process. That helped me tremendously. I built a network and also improved my LinkedIn. That was a huge part of my job process. I created a network, and if any of you want to join, you can. It's a Black Designers call. It's for an hour on a Saturday where a bunch of designers and other people interested in UX join and just talk about where they are. That truly helped set the tone of, building relationships, especially when there were job opportunities and interviews. Informational calls were extremely helpful, just cold calling people on LinkedIn and saying, hey, can we have a 15-minute or 5-minute coffee chat about your experience about UX? And a lot of people were open to that, making those calls short. They were open to having that discussion. And then also the mentors and the career coaches within CJ were incredibly helpful. I reviewed my portfolio and did interview practice when it came to behavioral interviews every weekend. I did cry at one point because I really wanted to get a job, and I had about 19 interviews and 3 final rounds, which of course led to an emotional experience, but I will say I'm really thankful for it. And I will say some people aren't familiar with how many interviews you could have or how many rounds. And I'm sure you guys can attest to this, that some rounds were between 3 to 5. I did experience one 5-round interview, which was extremely long, but the process is worth it. And just to let you all know, it's practice for the next interview and the next potential employer. So yeah, that's a little bit of my job search process.